In this video, I'm going to share with you how to start a dead simple marketing agency by finding what I call magic ads. And here is one of these magic ads live. This is a real live account. And magic ads essentially have shaped my ability to create a marketing agency. And so in this video, I'm going to share with you what that process looks like and how you can do the same so that you can start your agency or grow your agency. So the key difference between what most agencies do and what I decided to do was create what's called a productized service. And so this was me back in 2018, before I knew the stuff that I knew now, going to in-person appointments and basically just offering whatever somebody would say yes to, right? And that's where a lot of agencies start, is you just see who will say yes to any of your services, and then you basically learn how to do the service, and then you're just kind of on the hamster wheel. And so I didn't know about magic ads at this point in time. And so I want to share that with you because it can totally transform how fast you actually start getting results in your agency, both in terms of how many clients you can get as well as the results that you get those clients, because there's kind of a formula here. So in this video, I'm going to share with you, it's more than 3 secrets, but I think it's 5, but I'll share with you these secrets to helping you start your agency successfully. So once again, if you're new to the channel, my name's Quinn. I have been running ads for the past 8 years, and I have been doing this stuff without ever having to work a job. And so the way that I've been able to do that is by doing what I'm going to be sharing with you. Okay, it took me a while to figure this out. It was actually probably about 3 years into my agency journey when I really started to understand this concept and actually design my business around this. So what are magic ads? Okay, this is what a magic ad, like the metrics of a magic ad, look like, right? And you can see this is the same, this is the same thing. If I go to, this week, you can see here cost per message in conversation 3. So you can see all these metrics are live. Okay. Now, what makes this a magic ad? Okay, magic ads are bulletproof ads that generate leads at an extremely low cost. They work in any area, and they work with a small budget. Think $5 a day, like this. Okay, now I want to be clear here. Magic ads alone are not going to make you successful or a client successful. Okay, so that's just, I want to put that out there. That's not the only ingredients required for success. But the magic ads, if you don't know what they are or you aren't thinking like this, if you have the diligence to stick with this model and you implement this, this can totally change, like I said, the results you get in your agency if you do understand this. But this alone is not, all that's required for success, right? So like I said, magic ads are these bulletproof ads. They generate leads at a low cost. They work in any area, and they work with a small budget, right? And magic ads are when you combine the market's needs, right? So like, let's say you work with a real estate agent, for example, and you're providing these services to them. The client, right, your real estate agent client, they want leads, they want to close deals, they want more listings and closings, right? And so that's what they need, right? Now, their market, right, who they serve, they have their own needs too, right? The people that want to buy a house, they have needs, right? And the people that want to sell their house, they have needs, right? And so if you don't understand this, right, you will clearly see it reflect inside of your advertising campaigns. Why? Because you can't force the market to do something that they don't want, right? And so if you're designing your business and your agency, or even if you're a business owner watching this, if you're designing your agency, business, advertising, whatever, around things that there is no demand for, your costs will go up, your ads will never really work, and you'll kind of always be forcing traffic to your funnel or whatever it is, right? So a magic ad is when you actually see beyond just the ad. Even though I am talking about only ads here, it's when you understand what does the actual market need, right? And how do we portray that in a way that gets people engaged and makes them want to interact with the ad, right? So it's when we combine those needs, right, with automated inbound marketing, which is, this is Facebook ad screenshot, and this is a live, like I said, account, and the correct ad template to tap into unlimited high quality traffic. So once again, magic ads work because when you go to talk to a client about your system, one of the biggest objections is going to be the cost. No matter how you present it, no matter what your offer is, at the end of the day, when you're starting this business, people have to pay you and they don't know if they're going to get results. Okay. So I'm not saying to go offer low cost services and stuff like that. I'm just saying at the end of the day, people look at what things cost and what they're going to get. Simple as that. So when you show somebody they can get results like this with $5 a day, right? And you internally know that this works in any area and it works with, a very small budget. It's because you've successfully combined the market's needs, right? It's not like I'm some genius or, you're some genius for figuring out what the market needs and just putting it right in front of them. You're just taking what they want and then saying, oh, this is what you want. Boom, here you go, right? So when you do that and you do it with automated inbound marketing and you design your advertising in the proper way to where it's optimized for that specific niche and platform, now you start getting results like this. So somebody can start with $5 a day versus when you don't have this system dialed in, now you got to tell people they need $5,000 a month to start or $3,000 a month to start. And you don't even know if it's going to work that well. Whereas with a magic ad, look, I'm going to get leads. I know this thing's going to work like clockwork. And that's what I've been able to do. Not for 8 years because it took me a while to learn that. But the moment that I really understood this concept, that's essentially all I've done is resell magic ads. And, people wonder how I'm able to grow and not have like a huge team. Well, it's because I understand that if I just figure out what the market needs, right? Not the market like my client. I already know what my client needs, right? Most of you already know what your client needs. You just can't deliver it, right? So if I can figure out within, right, what my client wants, what do their clients want, and put it right in front of them, now you start getting results like this, right? And you can actually see this was around when I started to figure this concept out. So this is in 2020. This is a screenshot of this live account. This is like actually live right now. And this is a screenshot of back in 2020 where I helped a real estate agent at the time generate $55,000 in commissions with $681 of ad spend. It's right there. And I did an interview with him and, it's all documented and, truthful. So this is a magic ad, right? And then this is another magic ad that I have a screenshot of inside of Facebook, right? And I have a bunch of other ones, right? And this can change the way that you view your whole agency because I wish I knew at the beginning that, man, I just didn't think about designing my offer and my agency around where it's just gonna work, right? Like sometimes it's a hard concept to grasp because you picked your niche, you've done this, you've done that. But if you're going to offer advertising, right, and you look at it objectively, what's the point of wanting to do something hard? Like, what's the point of, hey, I want to get into advertising. I'm going to pick where nobody wants this stuff and it's super hard to sell and I'm going to just force my way through it, right? I didn't know I was like doing that in a way. But eventually I, kind of realized that like, wait, if I just figure out which ads work and get leads and customers, then I can just design, I can just design my offer around who needs those leads and customers because my ads just work, right? Objectively speaking, it has nothing to do with my niche, has nothing to do with my expertise. If something is working, right, who needs the thing that's working and put that in front of them, right? So now you create this loop of giving both sides of the market, right, what they want, and then now you've got this formula, okay? So that's step one is you need to think about magic ads if you're offering some form of advertising service, right? If you can't run an ad and know that it's going to work, you don't have a magic ad, okay? I'll just tell you as simple as that. If you're guessing, if you're trying to figure this stuff out and you don't know what you're doing, that's not, you haven't nailed this part down yet. I know I can literally plug in templates in any market and it is going to work, right? And so then I have the confidence to make those offers to people, tell them how it works, and then get clients, right? So once you've found these, right, like let's say that you have found these or you already have some, that you have proven ads that work, then, and you've ideally gotten a result, right, for a client, like, because you can have the ads, test them, and, show that they work, but at the end of the day, the client pays you so they can make money, right? If you're offering some form of lead gen service or whatever. So ideally, you've gotten a result for a client just like this. Like it was a magic ad that just worked, right? But then, independently of that, the client actually got money in his account from it, right? And so it's not only like proven to work just as an ad to get leads, but it also leads to the result that my client wants, okay? So ideally, you've gotten some form of a result for the client, then change nothing, right? If you want to follow this model, I'm not here to tell you what to do, and right, you got to figure that out for yourself. But if you want to follow the model that I have, once you found those ads, you've tested them, and you've gotten a result for a client, literally change nothing. Like, don't go and then take on some other client in some other niche, and then you just start bouncing around. Like, you literally have created the recipe that creates success. It's the ad, it's the ad copy, it's the image, it's the client, it's what the client said, right? You literally, all the check boxes that are required to actually run an ad to get a client to make a profit just happened, right? So this is what I did. I used to do that, and then I'm like, oh, well, I just started, like, I didn't understand the significance of it, and so then I just went and did this and went and did that, right? But what I would tell myself back then is, you now have the product, right? The product is duplicatable. You know the ad works, it's been proven, and you actually have a live documented case study of somebody succeeding with your thing. And so most people then try to change what they're doing or whatever, right? Now, the one suggestion that I would encourage you to look into is that when you figure this out, right, when you actually get the client the result, if there isn't like, if it still costs a lot for your ads to run and get results and like work, I'm not going to say change your niche and go change this, but maybe think outside of the box with how you could design, right, these ads to work even better by finding a different segment of your niche. So for example, I can be very specific. So currently I work with real estate investors. And so that's like, real estate is kind of the industry, right? And so there's magic ads within real estate, right? But as you get super specific, there's different, people inside of real estate. And so to keep it simple, within the context of real estate, there are real estate investors, and the people that I am working with at this point are people that either wholesale these real estate properties, or they there's other things they do, but I don't want to get too deep into that. So I can keep it really simple with this. So if I have magic ads for real estate wholesalers, which I do, right? But the performance of the ads still require a lot of advertising spend. Like, I can be very specific. If a real estate wholesaler wants to market locally, like within one zip code or one county, those ads will still work, but their cost per lead is higher, and their advertising spend required is also higher, right? And so there's nothing wrong with it. Like I said, you got to make this decision for yourself. But one of the decisions that I made through understanding this concept, which is why I'm sharing it with you, was that I found that my magic ads that still worked locally really took off at a whole other level when I started to work with virtual real estate wholesalers, or they call themselves nationwide wholesalers, whatever, right? And the difference between this is this means that ad can run across the entire United States. And I have also spoken to people that are in my group who run ads for solar, and solar ads work locally. Like, you can run an ads, locally and dominate that niche, and that's fine. Like I said, I just want you to think outside of the box, because at the end of the day, you're designing your business around what works, and that's what I'm doing too. And so I'm not going to just spend years trying to serve a niche where it's hard to fulfill, it's hard to get results, it costs a lot, and it's just tough, right? I'm not saying any of this is easy, but you can find pockets in the market where there are gaps and fill them in with your skill sets. And that's essentially where I'm coming from. So I have a buddy that runs ads in solar, and he's ran a bunch of ads locally. And he himself told me that I had started to kind of plant this seed of what I'm telling you guys, of adding in other areas where you could still run the same ads and find clients that can service people in different areas, right? Long story short, you start running these solar ads locally, it still works, volume's lower, but cost per lead is higher, and the barrier to get someone like on the system just costs more in general, right? And you can still do that. But he said he started running nationwide solar ads, because there are solar representatives who service the entire country, and the ads just crank, right? And so that's what I want to say. If you're maybe stuck with like your niche or your ads or something like that. I'm not saying to switch your niche. I'm just saying you can look at the evolution I went through to where I worked with agents, and then I worked with listing agents, and then I worked with investors, and then I worked with wholesalers, and then now I'm focused on really virtual wholesalers. It's all still the same thing, finding off-market deals, but the reason I found that is because I want to make it as easy as possible to deliver the result to the client. And if I know that a client can start running ads with, $20 a day and still get great results and close a deal a month and make 15K, I'd rather offer that than say, hey, you got to spend 5K a month. Like where I am in Southern California, if you were to try to run these types of ads, you gotta just to be in the game. I mean, you got to be spending at least, 150, $200 a day, right? And like I said, I'm not here to say that doesn't work. I'm just in the business of simplicity. And so if I figured out an ad that works and it works even better in like a larger area like the United States, and there are people that can service those types of leads and still get the same results, like that's the route I'm going to take. Like I've already spent years trying to do what's super hard. I won't get into that whole thing, but I've tried to do stuff, sell stuff people don't want, and it just, it doesn't make it fun. But when you figure these things out, it can make it really fun because you may have the right ads already or, services, but you're just offering it to a segment of the market that's maybe too limited in terms of what they can do versus like I'm in the internet business, right? So I want my clients to be virtual. I want them to be able to work anywhere in the world because then it opens up opportunity for us to market to like new people, right? So that's the one suggestion that I'll make. It's up to you, obviously, but that's my take on it. So once you have that template, though, yes, you can try and innovate and try to make new stuff, but I'm being dead serious when I tell you that 8 years ago when I started learning about how to run these ads, there's still the same ads that run to this day. So a lot of people kind of chase their tail on thinking that there's some new ad or something that's really creating a huge difference, but it's really these other components that go into making this stuff work. So it may be hard to believe. I get that because somebody could have told this to me and I still wouldn't have, got it the way that I do now. So you may have to go through your own experience, but I'm telling you the same ads still work to this day. Okay. So that's step 2 here. Now, once you have all those ingredients, right, you have the market's needs aligned with the inbound marketing, and you have that all, social, like from the social ad perspective, you have the right type of ad, right framework and all that. Now you're getting leads, you're getting them at a low cost. Your offer is tighter because now you can say, hey, get started with me for X dollars, and then you pay $5 a day in ad spend, right, or whatever it is. Now you're in the game, right? Now you're in the game. And I didn't know that because I was like, well, you got to spend thousands of dollars and I don't really know if it's going to work. And it's like this, it just sucks. No one wants to buy that, right? So I'm giving you the gold of just objectively, if you want to make it in this business, you got to have a tight offer that people can get started with, right? Yes, you can have a strong offer where you're offering a really great, end result, but still people look at cost, right? Like I said, I think everyone understands that to some extent. Like everyone looks at cost. So once you have those ingredients though, right, you want to learn the numbers so that you have your product down to a science, right? And if you go check out my other videos before this, I have case studies where I'm showing you firsthand these results that I get for clients, and I know my numbers down to a science. A little secret, if you go look at my videos and find, some of the numbers I share, they'll probably translate pretty closely to your niche, right? It may not be perfect, but if your client makes money from like services and phone calls and has a higher ticket service like, solar or, roofing, remodeling, stuff like that, the numbers will be slightly different in terms of like the cost per lead and stuff, but you should see, similar metrics in terms of like qualified leads and conversion rate, right? So you got your magic ads, you designed an actual like offer that's tight, and you've got a productized ad. Like that, hey, when I sign this client up, I'm not guessing, I'm not, going and trying to figure out what's going to work. I'm just going to copy paste this ad and launch it, right? So once you have that, you need to notate those numbers, or you can even, if you've gotten an actual result here, you can utilize those numbers and just, design the offer around that, right? So like, for example, if you knew that in an example, you got someone 100 leads and they closed, two deals or 2 clients, whatever it's called for your niche, then, that's what you want to have as a frame of reference so that you can talk to new people and say, okay, you need 100 leads to get 2 deals. This is how much, your leads are probably going to cost. Here should be your budget. And like I said, if you got a magic ad, you should be able to get people going with like $20 of ad spend, right? It takes some designing to get that, right? Because you guys may be in different niches where people spending $100 a day. And like I said, that's fine. I have people that spend $100 or more a day too. And I used to work more with people that are local. And so I used to have, 10K a month ad budgets. But like I said, I've learned stuff where I'm just like, look, where is there opportunity, and where can I leverage my same skill set to make, to do the same type of service, but get better results on less ad spend, right? So you got to engineer. So learning the numbers is one, and then I'll add this. You need to engineer the numbers in your customer's favor, right? This is a huge thing that I really have seen, because if you think about it, if you just look at it objectively, you may be in a niche, you may be attached to what you're doing, but if you wipe the slate clean and you just look at it okay, I know how to run ads and I know how to get these types of clients customers. Then if you just look at it objectively, right, what is the most effective way to engineer the numbers of what your service costs and their ad spend in your customer's favor, right? And I'll keep it super simple. Somebody wants a motivated seller lead in, Los Angeles, right? It's going to cost $100 to do it right. Now, if somebody wants a motivated seller lead and they're open to, the entire United States, that's going to cost $20, right? And so, like I said, I don't know about you, but at the end of the day, for me, if a client can get results and is happy with the service, it doesn't really matter what their model is, right? I just want to align my skill set, align what the market needs with my model. Don't you want to be in the most efficient model, right? Why be in the hard model if there's a more efficient way, right? So if I'm attached to this, right, then now I say, okay, well, you need 5K in ad spend. You got to, pay the service fee. And within 30 days, you literally can't even promise, right, that, even if you get a client a contract, just the nature of real estate means that a client won't necessarily get paid, within 30 days. It could take 45 days from the day of the contract. It just depends. But the point is, this isn't really I don't really have a strategic advantage with something that costs this much personally, right? Like I said, I have no problem offering this. I have no problem in the ability to get the result. It has nothing to do with that. I just like saying you can get one deal with $20 a day in ad spend, right? I think that aligns more, because it's you pay $20 a day, you pay for the service fee, and right, they're in $20 a day plus the service fee, right? So if I'm cutting through all the noise, it's essentially lowering your customer's total cost. But it's not just about lowering your prices. It's about figuring out, if you do run ads, where can you really get asymmetric results with the ads, so that you can engineer those numbers in your customer's favor and figure out, hey, for the normal person, right, who is a business owner and growing, where can they actually spend a solid amount and actually make a lot in return, right? And this is where those opportunities are. You got to find those, okay? So once you've learned the numbers and you've engineered the numbers in your customer's favor, now what you want to do, and you could do this before you actually start servicing it, but ideally you have some experience with just the overall system as a whole. So now that you'd never have to worry about what ad to run or how to get clients results, you need to automate the bad leads out of the picture, so the perception of your product is perceived by the client as amazing. So let me be super tactical with you. So if I know that I don't have to worry about my ad because it's a proven template, and I'm giving the market what they want, and I'm also potentially in a nationwide scenario where it's just, okay, we're going to get leads left and right, then by knowing my numbers, right, and then engineering the numbers in my customer's favor, then I can design it with automation and tools to where if I know that I get 100 leads, that I'll just keep it super simple. Let's just say 15% are qualified / worth talking to. Through the magic ad and showing this ad to the right people, giving them what they want, I will be able to get volume at a low cost, as well as a lot of qualifying questions that I can ask for these, for these actual leads. So for example, specifically within my niche, I know that we can get a $20 long form survey lead. And so that'll give us answers to important questions to see if the lead is qualified. And so, for example, for every $20 that we spend, we get one of those leads, and we know that we can automate the disqualification of the bad leads. And so what happens? Well, the customer is spending an ad spend, right, that's way more affordable. And I'm not saying I only work with people that spend $20 a day. It's just they could now spend 60, and where if they were to spend that 60 in their local market, like it, they're going to get maybe one lead a day, right? Versus here, they potentially can get 100 in a month, right? So that's more what I'm talking about. It's not just I'm only doing $20 a day. And so when it comes to the disqualification of the bad leads, what we can do is we know that, okay, it costs $20 to get actual real information from these leads, right? So then let's just say I'm sending a client one lead out of every actual 8 that gets submitted. So by the end of the hundreds being submitted, I know on the back end that there's 100 submissions, right? But out of those 100, let's just say 15, like I'll just call them our like hot leads, right? I'm oversimplifying it so you understand the concept, and these numbers aren't exact to what it really would be. But let's just say that, I know that the actual behind the scenes metrics is like for every 100 leads, a client will close 2 deals, right? So let's say that I know that. So out of the 100 leads that are actually generated, I know that the client realistically only needs 2. Who are the 2 that they want, right? And so let's say that I know, I'm going to make this a little bit larger just so you get the concept. So let's just say I kind of bubble cut the leads. Like I don't try to over qualify them and perfectly get the 2 leads, because then you may miss them, right? But I just kind of slice it down to where I'm giving them 70% less of the leads. Well, now when the client closes his 2 deals, because I know my numbers, I know my ads, I know what it takes to convert these deals, then in his mind or her mind, he or her is thinking, wow, I love this service. I'm converting 1 out of 15 leads. Like I talked to 15 people and I'm converting an actual, a lead into a deal, right? And the better you get at this, if this becomes 15, now it's like, man, for every 7 leads I get, I'm converting, right? The back end is still the same. It's just because you have volume and because you have the spend behind it in a more affordable way, you're actually designing, like I said, the numbers in the customer's favor where they can actually close the deals that they need to close. You can get the volume as the marketer that is required to actually get people to fill out the survey and get the right leads. And then you just automate this process and send them over the 15 or the 30, whatever. Even if you cut it in half, it's still going to be a better perspective of the service versus, somebody spending a very low amount, right, for that market, and they're barely getting any sort of lead flow. And then it's just like, okay, this just sucks. I just spent $800 to get a lead that isn't even answering, right? So you want to avoid that if you want to stay in this game and, offer a good service. So tying it all together, find magic ads, right? And ideally get a result with them so you're not just testing theory, like get results. And then design your productized agency around proven ads that work, right? And then the second dimension to that is if there's a way to expand how you serve those ads, like with me, instead of I can run ads locally or I can run them nationally, right? And your niche may be able to do the same. Then now I actually have something that is easier to offer because I know the ads work and I know that I don't have to worry about the fulfillment. I have the volume, and a customer can actually pay the service fee, pay for the leads, pay for everything that's required to actually make it all work. But probably the majority of my failures in terms of client results early on came from like they have to pay the service fee and they have to pay the ad spend. And by the time they're in, 2-3 months, they're essentially, even if they close a deal, they pretty much broke even, right? And so they just worked for free, and then it's just like, why am I going to stay? So if you tweak that, right, the tip of the spheres with the magic ad, like can you get leads in at a low cost and use AI, use surveys to actually qualify these leads? And if you can, and you can do it in a local market, then great. But if you're stuck with not being able to get your niche demand and they have to spend a lot more, well, maybe think outside the box and see if there's a way you can actually service a larger area so that your ads are just, running like crazy, right? And if you, like if this is new to you, I mean, if you think of like the largest companies, they run ads nationally. Like look at insurance companies, look at, any sort of like lead generation company. I mean, they run ads nationwide, right? And so why, as a smaller agency, right, that may just be trying to start this business up from scratch, why box yourself into, like, literally it's just harder. Like, I could show somebody how to run these types of ads nationally, and like I said, it's like, hey, run this ad for $50, just test it out, run it across the entire United States, and you'll start getting leads because the skill set required is so much lower because the volume's higher. So it's crazy when you think about it. It took me so long to figure this stuff out. So hopefully it helps you on your journey, and wishing you continued success. And yeah, if you want to connect with me one-on-one, I do weekly calls in a group that I have. I'll link it below. And there's also other people that are working on their agencies like this. And I'm sharing all this stuff live as I do these things and figure these things out. So hopefully it was valuable to you. And like I said, I'd love to see you in the group and connect and see if there's a way to think outside the box for what you're doing. I truly believe it can lead to a breakthrough. So I will see you in the next one and talk to you then. Bye-bye.